Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So we're checking in today. It is January 12th, 2022. So what I would like to go over in this video today is an example of a valuation. So I always get these questions from entrepreneurs in Rwanda around valuation. So what is a valuation? In simple terms, the valuation of a company is the value that you can sell your company for to another investor. So that means in order for you to get feedback from investors, in order for an investor to be interested in either buying your company or investing in your company or buying shares, so you can sell your company outright. 100% goes to another business owner, another company, and then you're out of it. Or you can sell some shares to individual investors or to a company like a venture capital company. Or you can have investors buy a percentage of equity in your company. So different things that you can do. So in order for someone else to come in and say, you know what, I'd like to be part of this. I appreciate what you're doing. I see potential. Can I be part of this? So that's in order for them to come to you with that mindset, you have to give them an idea of what they're buying into. And the way that we can gauge a company's health is through financial statements. So on a financial statement, you're going to have you have your balance sheet, which is really important, but also the income statement is very important as well. The income statement, in simple terms, it's really showing an investor how you did over a period of time. So an income statement will will have a period of time. You can have a quarterly income statement, you can have an income statement for the year. Whereas a balance sheet really gives you a picture of how the company is doing at a specific time. So for example, your balance sheet on the end of Q1 is going to look different from your balance sheet at the end of the year, because things will change, and the balance sheet is really, it's almost like just taking a picture. And when you take a picture, you can see everything at that particular time. You don't know what happens after you take the picture. You don't know what happened before you took the picture. Whereas an income statement gives you a long view of how things have been going. So that's just a little bit of an explanation on what you need to get an investor to join you, to join your company. So what I'd like to do today is really just kind of give you all a very, I'm going to try to make it short and not too complicated, keep it simple. But before I even go into valuations and income statement, we have to look at the capital markets, a little history about the capital markets of Rwanda. So the Rwanda Stock Exchange was operational, I believe it started in 2011, where they were offering shares. And when the RSE opened, I believe they had 3 companies listed. So now we're in 2022, 11 years later. I believe that there are 5 Rwandan companies that are listed on the Rwanda Stock Exchange. So that's just a little bit of a history. The Rwanda Stock Exchange is very new. It's a young institution. The Capital Markets Authority of Rwanda is also a young institution. Now, there is a document called the Capital Markets Authority Masterplan. I believe it was written in 2016. So 6 years ago, you had some leaders in Rwanda, professionals from the Capital Markets Authority, professionals from government and consultants. they all came up with a master plan. In this master plan, and I will add the link to that master plan somewhere in this video. So in this master plan, it's a couple of pages, I believe 2024, feel free to read it. In this master plan, what I really want to hone in on is that the plan was to have 35 companies listed on the Rwanda Stock Exchange by year 10. By year 10, so by the 10th anniversary of the Rwanda Stock Exchange, the plan was to have 35 companies listed. So we're in 2022. So this is, and if the RSC started in 2011, that's 11 years later. How are we doing comparing it to what was the plan, what's going on now? So we are short of the plan, because if we went with what was written in 2016, we should have 35 Rwandan companies on the stock exchange. Right now we have 5. So that means that us, right, the business owners, the entrepreneurs, we need to list our companies on the Rwandan Stock Exchange. So in order to be listed on the Rwandan Stock Exchange, you have to go through a list of actions. You have to meet certain requirements. And one of those requirements are to have financial statements that are prepared by professionals. Now, the issue with having financial statements that are prepared by professionals, it means that you open your company to scrutiny from from strangers, and that might be a reason why there has not been many Rwandan companies that are jumping on the RSC, the stock exchange. So one of the things we have to do as entrepreneurs going forward, if you start a company in Rwanda, be of the mindset that you're going to list that company. Your goal is not just to make a profit, but your goal is to list your company. That has to be the new MO. Because as we have more people in that mindset, then we can actually have more companies listed on the stock exchange. Also, if you start a business and you're in the mindset of, okay, I'm going to have this company listed in a few years, this will give you an incentive to mind your bookkeeping, mind your accounting. And so that way, when you're ready to list, then you will not be it won't be too much of a shock or too much of a transition for you to be comfortable with your financial statements being open. So the thing is, when we run private companies, we tend to take a little, we tend to like things done a certain way. And more often than not, the accounting is lacking. It is subpar. And there might be issues of not really segregating your income streams or your expenses. So now you're thinking, okay, so now, I'm going to have actually a government entity review my financial statements in order for investors to invest in my company. It might make you feel uncomfortable. But if you start a business and you're in the mindset of, okay, I know that that the financial statements are going to be available to investors within a few years, then you will do things properly as opposed to try to clean up your books, which can be an uncomfortable process. So that was just an overview of the history behind the RSC. So it started in 2011. When it started, it had 3 companies listed. The plan on the CMA master plan was to have 35 companies listed by the 10th anniversary of the Rwanda Stock Exchange. We are not meeting that goal. Why is that? That's because we don't have companies that are willing to make their financial statements available, to go through the vetting process of being on the stock exchange. So that's something that we all need to work on. We have to be in the mindset that, okay, going forward, when I start a company, it will be listed. So just a little overview of the Rwanda Stock Exchange. Now, going back to evaluation. So A very and also, in order to think about valuations, we have to think about, or we have to consider where Rwanda wants to be. And this is all described in the Vision 2050, in the CMA Masterplan, and in the and other documents that are available to you on the Rwanda government website. So Rwanda wants to be an attractive hub for foreign investors, for investment companies, for venture capital companies to operate from. Rwanda wants to provide an environment where foreign investors, and by foreign, we are not just talking about Europe and the West, right? We're talking about any company in Africa, anywhere. We want you to look at Rwanda and say, you know what, I think it would be a good place for my investing company, for my venture capital company to be, to have an HQ in Kigali. So that means that what we're really looking for, the market segment that we are aiming for is more of an administrative, is to provide the administrative support and the local, more of a local launching pad for companies that are interested in investing in East Africa. That means that what we need to do, as we get closer and closer to 2050, is we need to invest in training, and invest in training that has to do with the growing industries of the world. So data science, data analysis, accounting, and also, of course, the administration of funds. And the Capital Markets Authority, they have an exam that you can take so that you can get a license and so that you can become a broker or an investment advisor. So that's where Rwanda wants to be in the future. We want to be the go-to place where you want to HQ your investment company, your venture capital company. So we as Rwandans, we have to invest in training so that we will be qualified to provide you the necessary administrative support. And the reason why it's a very good plan, and of course they've thought about it, so the government has thought about it. The reason why it's a good strategy is because labor is cheaper in Africa. It is cheaper for you to have an accountant in Africa than to have an accountant in America. And so if the person in Africa has the training, if they're familiar with the work, if they can provide the work to your satisfaction, why not hire someone in Africa? If you want to start a venture capital firm, it is cheaper for you to have the administration of that firm in a market that has cheaper labor. So there you go. And that's what the government of Rwanda is looking for. So now let's just go into an example of the valuation of a new business. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to separate this video into two sections because I don't want them to be too long. So I will be right back with an example of a valuation. So thank you for watching and stick around.